What if I told you that everything was your fault? Let me explain. Okay, so this video is going to be kind of a conceptual one, but it really changed my mindset on how I took control of my life and really took responsibility. I think it's so easy to put the blame onto other people, onto other things. Whenever anything goes wrong in your life, it's so easy to say, oh, this didn't work out because of that person, because of that thing, because of that circumstance. Now, I know that we can't control what happens in the world around us, but I'm going to get a little deep on this one, and if you can bear with me, our realities, what we perceive in life, is controlled by our past experiences and how we perceive the world. So everything that is happening outside of us is passing through our eyes and through our brains through the filter that we have, and therefore we perceive it and judge it accordingly. So, in a sense, you are making meaning of everything that is happening outside of you. So that's kind of the first layer of assuming responsibility of everything that happens. And yes, we can't control what other people do or what other people say, but we can control how we act and react in order to influence the people around us and the world around us, as well as ourselves and our own reactions. For example, we can't stop somebody from having road rage and getting really angry at us if we happen to make a wrong turn, or they happen to make a wrong turn, or just something happens in life where it's an accident and somebody gets really angry. We can't control how that person is feeling and how that person acts. But the way that we react will then inform how they continue to react and act going forward. So if we flare up and get even more angry as well, that's only going to rise the tension even more. That person's going to get more angry, and it'll probably result in some kind of a fight or battle of some sort. Now, you may not end up getting out the car and actually having a physical altercation with this person, but even if you go your separate ways and you do your own thing, if you let that get to you mentally, if you have a reaction that's negative and angry, that's going to affect the rest of your day, and that's going to affect all the people around your life. You're going to be carrying that negative energy with you as you go into the rest of your day. But rather, if you can see that situation for what it is, maybe that person was having a really bad day. Maybe their parent just died. Maybe they just got broken up with. There's endless reasons why somebody could be really angry. And it's our job to take on that responsibility and be like, it's okay, I see through it. Even though I might not understand what you're going through, I can empathize that you might be going through something that is causing that anger, because anger doesn't come from nowhere. And not just anger, but any emotion doesn't just come from nothing. So it's our job to take on that responsibility and make it our fault that this thing has happened, so that we can then react in a better way and carry that positivity forward into the rest of our day and the rest of our lives. So I think even if somebody has done something terrible to you or your family, again, obviously we couldn't control what they've done, but it's our responsibility to control how we react and how we process that, and not suppress those emotions, but rather to process them and deal with it effectively, so that we can then bring the situation forward into a new light and take responsibility and control of our own lives, and not let external factors control our lives subconsciously. So I'll give you another example. If you just went through a breakup, and there could have been reasons on both sides for the breakup, but even if it was predominantly one side, say it wasn't your fault necessarily, say the other person wanted to break up with you and they have done some terrible things, it's easy to just blame the other person, to be like, well, you can suck it, it's nothing, I did nothing wrong, it was not my fault, you're just a bad person, I'm just gonna go on with my life, fuck you, I'm done. It's super easy to do that, and most people do that because it's a lot easier, and we don't want to take on the responsibility of learning how maybe we could have done something better, because again, to get to that situation of the breakup, that point, took something else. There's a much deeper story behind that than that final point. Nothing ever happens just out of nowhere. There's always a cause and effect. So even though the situation might not have been your fault or your doing or your decision, you had an influence to play in that story leading up to that point. Again, this is in terms of a relationship, not necessarily if it's an external situation. So if the breakup has happened, first of all, it's just to accept that it is what it is. And then to look past the layer of blame and judgment and to really look inward and see, okay, what could I have done better? How can I learn from the situation? And how can I better myself to be a better partner going into my next relationship, to be a better human going forward in my life? And that's what I mean about taking responsibility and assuming that everything is your fault. Another point I want to touch on is something that I guess we can all relate to is external big corporations, politics, governments. We feel like the small guy that has no say. We have no power. We can't really do anything. We can't make the decisions for Facebook, for Google, for the US government, for China, the FBI, whoever. A giant world leader. What do we have to do? How can we control that? How is Russia going to war with Ukraine our fault? And this is kind of a touchy subject, and you could disagree with me on this one, but again, our reality is controlled by what we perceive, by what we take in. And this, again, you could disagree with me, but you can choose to be ignorant. You can choose not to watch the news. And therefore, that situation, everything else that's happening in the world that isn't happening in front of you right now in this present moment doesn't exist. If I'm living in the middle of the woods and I don't have any TV, any internet, there's no way that I would know that Russia is at war with Ukraine. And so it's not going to affect my life at all. I mean, it might like way down the line if Russia invaded the whole world, but in that present moment, it doesn't exist. And again, this is willful ignorance. And I'm not saying this is necessarily the best thing to do, but it is a choice. You do have the choice to be ignorant to negativity. And you do have to be careful with how you choose to navigate this, because I do think it is important to stay up to date to some extent with world politics and news and know what's going on a little bit, but I don't think you have to let it consume you. And again, by taking responsibility for it, you can choose to be the best version of yourself, the best person in that moment, to be the best human for that situation, whatever that may look like. So again, it really just comes down to taking responsibility for your own life, your own actions, your own thoughts, your own emotions, and not pushing the blame onto other people, because other people have been a victim of their own circumstances, their own programming, their own generational history, their own societal history, their own colonial history. There's so much that goes into it that's way beyond our control. But as soon as we start taking responsibility for our generational past, which is a massive undertaking to do, that's when we can start making some real change. And it's not easy to take on responsibility for everything. It's like taking the high road every time. Sometimes it's a lot easier just to say, I don't want to deal with this. This is your fault. I didn't do anything. But we're not going to change. We're not going to get better. We're not going to progress as a loving species and better this planet if we keep blaming other people. Hi, this is Editing Dean. And after editing this entire video, I've realized that this may come across as a little bit insensitive to some people, and I think maybe saying that everything is your fault was maybe the wrong terminology to use for this concept, because fault implies that there is something wrong that you did, which there isn't. There's nothing that's wrong or right. It's all just on the spectrum of what is. And I know some of you might be going down into the comment section right now, like, how is somebody getting raped? How is that their fault? How is somebody getting murdered? How is that their fault? And I guess what I'm trying to say, again, maybe the wrong choice of words to use, is that it's not necessarily your fault, but everything that you did, every decision you made in your life led up to that point of you being in that situation. So again, not that it's your fault or anybody's fault that terrible things happened to them, but the decisions that they made may have got them to that situation. And on that as well, while everything is your fault, at the same time, everything is not your fault. Nothing is your fault, because everything else is happening externally, and it's all because of the programs and conditioning of other people around you. Everything that they've done in their lives, everything that's influenced them, all the experiences that they've had has brought them to this point, whether they're doing the best things in the world or the most terrible things in the world. So it's not your fault that this has happened to you. So don't be too hard on yourself as well. This whole video is just a conceptual idea to help you take control of your own life, and not succumb to other people and other external forces dictating your life subconsciously. I hope that makes sense. If you're gonna hate on me in the comments for this video, just do it in a respectful way. I'm happy to have a discussion about this and be mature about it. And yeah, I'm just trying to bring more consciousness and awareness to this space, this subject, and make people more aware of everything that's influencing their lives so that they can lead a better life. That was a good one. I hope I got my points across. I know it's still kind of up there and a little bit airy-fairy, but it's just one simple mindset shift that changed a lot for me. So I hope this video helps you in your progression through life. If you did like this video, please leave a like so other people can find it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear anything. Like I said, some of the points might have been a little bit controversial, but let me know, I'd love to hear. And also, if you like this video, please check out this one. I think you'll really like it as well. But until then, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.